What are our top 10 expected best decks post September 2023 ban list? Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. We're going to be starting off here with Chimera Brandon. Now, I still got to put this deck on every one of these little top videos because the deck always feels like it's incredibly strong. The hand rip, if you combine it with the runic variant, or, you want to play it with Brandon, you have two very strong variants that you can play to kind of get the deck going in either direction. And I actually think that that's kind of strong, actually. The fact that you have that split diversity, giving it the chance to really shine. But we'll have to wait and see. Post-list, maybe this deck will kind of get a little bit of a resurgence here. Maybe there will be, another takeoff with this like we saw before. Or maybe Unchained is just going to bully it out of existence. But either way, you still need to be aware that this is one of those decks that will continue to kind of exist in the room. And I think that's going to be something hard for people to understand. Then we have Labyrinth. Oh, baby! This deck is bad. Wait. Robbie, you just said Labyrinth's bad. Well, Eradicator didn't get hit on the list, but the deck was already starting to fall off as it was last format. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news here, but if the deck is consistently snowballing out of its advantage tree and it's just having a bad time, then that's not a good thing. All right, that's telling me that Labyrinth is losing momentum right now. It means the players are choosing not to play the deck. And unfortunately, as more and more people are opting not to choose to play it, its popularity, its consistency, it's not what they once were. So, something you gotta keep in mind. I know it's really low to put it down here. I might move it back up a little bit on the chart once we start to see more data and things, but it just doesn't feel good right now. And that's, it's actually really sad, actually. But Eradicator's a problem, right? Next up are Sprite variants. Yeah, on the fun fact, I probably should have put this below Labyrinth, but you know what? It's okay, because all the Sprite variants in the world, you got Sprite Live Twin Runic, Sprite Runic. That's it. Those are the things that, I think that's it. I think those are the most consistent versions that we have going for those decks at this point in time. But, Sprite variants out of last format were one of the most consistent. I think they had some very high numbers. And, I mean, once again, it's an engine. It gets you some extra negates, gets you interruptions. It's consistent. And that's a big thing right now, is consistency is going to be king at the end of the day. We'll have to wait and see how all the variants do kind of hold together. I assume that we're going to continue to see shift after shift here as the meta continues to spin around here and people are trying to figure out what they want to stick to for the format. Next up here is Branded. Yeah, obviously you have like the Branded Chimera variant like down below, but like you still have basic Branded up here. You can still gimmick Papa Lock people, and then people are still going to say that this deck, it's a consistent monster. No, it's been power crept. Trust me, I mean, it's not on the top of the alpha food chart anymore. It's not where it once was. The only thing it's got going for it is everything else kind of sucks now. So Branded kind of gets a little bit of a power creep up. But, I mean, the cards are effectively dated at this point. I mean, Branded Fusion's nuts to Book of Eclipse resolves, but that's neither here nor there. Depends on if Book of whatever decides to stick around in the format to kind of challenge this, and it's going to depend on, do you have the crossout designator for the Ash Blossom? And it's still the same choke point, as usual. If there's an Ash Blossom involved, Branded's probably going to have a bad time. But you know what? I'm willing to see where it goes. I'm willing to see where, duelists are going to take this. It's going to be interesting. Next up is Mana DM. Now, putting this at number 6, I was a little bit hesitant on this. I was debating between this and 5. But to be honest with you, this deck doesn't ever top in crazy troves. It's usually as a 1 to 2 of. You've got the Crimson Dragon builds. Obviously, they go into Dissipator, or you can do Tzolk'in. Well, not Tzolk'in. You can do Ultimate Abishu Vulcan plays. You've got all sorts of stupid little things that you can do with this deck. Obviously, the Dissipator play has been the more consistent approach to the deck, depending on which play lines you really find yourself wanting to go down. But Mana DM doesn't get its real power-ups till Age of Overlord, and you're going to have to be very patient until that point in time comes. Until then, you're kind of playing a very subpar combo deck. Kind of feels like it's missing bits and pieces throughout its life. So kind of keep that in mind here as to why Mana DM's not exactly the hottest thing, And then next up is Rika. Rika has the best Unchained it's got a pretty good Unchained matchup. Distributing your opponent's monsters off of the field, setting up a huge board. I would say that this versus Unchained, it's just kind of ignorant turbo, actually. You just kind of throw your board at your opponent. Unchained player throws his board at you. You both kind of go first and you kind of just checkmate each other. But if you go second, you don't feel like you have a really good time, actually. Yeah, that feels like the matchups in a nutshell, honestly. But this deck, if you do set up and you are able to tribute your opponent's monsters off the Rika stuff, whee! Free real estate, baby! Like, what do they do? I heard an Unchained player molding at an event recently, and they're just like, I can't believe this Rika stuff. Like, I can't believe they just let you tribute your monsters. And it's like, you're playing Unchained. Like, that's your entire gimmick is to be destroyed. Sorry that somebody played the hard counter. I'm actually glad a counter actually exists in this game for that. Next up is Rescue Ace. Now, this is kind of interesting. Set 4 Turbo. So many people gave this deck so much garbage at the beginning of its life, and it's been moving up the food ladder here, actually. The deck has been doing a lot more things than I think a lot of people really want to admit to at this point in time. I think a lot of people just want to look at this deck and they want to be like, oh, I don't want to play this. Like, we just recently saw people exploring the idea, well, actually, in the future here with the Abelstar, you'll be able to do Formula Synchron stuff, but that's a story for another day. But for now, set 4 Turbo, hydrant it on up, have your opponent stare at you and go, oh, man, I can't. Yep, set 4 is good. And you have to play through all set 4 interruptions, or, you resolve the emergency, combo on up, your opponent's just like, you got me, duelist. You're just better than me. So, that's interesting to really see how far along this deck has actually come. Because it is just blowing people away. So, kudos to that. Next up is Flandery. Someone's going to be like, I'm clicking off. Robbie said Flandery is the 3rd best deck in the room. Nope. Can't have that now, can we? So, the whole theme of this video is pet format. To be honest with you, the little birds that send messages through the mail, they just want a YCS for dummy's sake, okay? Those birds are thick. M-Pen is a thick lad, all right? That bird is doing some things out here to the opponents, all right? A lot of boards cannot out an M-Pen right now, and it's very scary. It's a very good meta call. I think it's going to continue to be a very strong anti-meta competitor as people just don't really have ideas on how to beat this deck. And, if they still had the barrier statue right now, they might just be one of the craziest decks in the room. But for now, M-Pen and the rest of the Floodgate stuff of the deck does A-okay in my opinion. All right, maybe the deck will adjust down. Maybe things will move around in the format. Maybe it'll bump on down to 8-9. We'll have to wait and see. All right, next up is Purely. Purely is the 2nd best deck in the room. That's something hard to swallow because that stupid deck has a draw 6 combo. I just saw some Master Duel players complaining. They're like, it says once per turn. I can't believe this. Konami's game's glitched. No, it's a once per turn per effect per copy, and it's a soft once per turn per copy. It doesn't say you can only use this effect once per turn. But anyway, deck's got a draw 6 combo. It's not fair. Unfortunately, the best deck in the room just has a pretty good matchup against it because we just keep blowing up everything. Also, Exceed Encore, Herald of the Abyss do exist, and now that we are entering into the new format, these cards are going to be cited. People are going to be playing the outs for these decks because people do not want to deal with this. 100% guaranteed that people are going to look at these cards and they are going to go, no, I don't want to touch this shit. All right, screw Purely. Like, it's just going to be unfun. So, yeah, that's draw 6. It's amazing, right? And then there's Unchained. I feel like if you told me that Unchained would be the best deck out here, that a lot of people would genuinely be shocked 8 months ago if you'd said that. But here we are. Unchained is probably the best deck right now. The Destruction stuff, I think you're going to continue to see people citing for this. Marionette Might is definitely one of those cards to do its thing, but the deck no longer cares. I can't wait to see evolutions of this build play Shifter just to piss people off, and it's going to be great. Don't worry. Shifter.deck still exists somewhere in the room. Which one it is? It's probably Flounder. But Rob, you didn't mention X deck. Don't worry, at the first of the month in October, we'll talk way more about everything that we can expect. But you gotta be patient because these are early thoughts. So please, leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think. I'll see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Peace out.
Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.